Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Common Retirement Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. My name is John Hantz, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm the president of Hantz Financial. For over 30 years, my team and I have been helping our clients reach and attain their retirement goals. This webinar is part of a larger presentation on the 9 common retirement mistakes and how to avoid them. Today, we're just covering 5 of those. Next month on June 6th, we'll be covering the other possibly 4 at that time. There can be some more information there. If you want to schedule some time with us to chat about your personal situation, you can text our office at the main number. Email also works great. This is the disclosure that I'm obligated to show you. And I love this. This is Dwight Eisenhower. He's the president of the United States. I'm sure most of you know that. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I'm sure you've heard that saying many times before, and most people, when they hear it, nod their heads and think, good advice. But when it comes to their money, most Americans aren't following it. According to one study, only 23% of Americans have a written retirement plan. 40% have done some planning but lack a formal plan, and 37% have done no planning at all. It's no surprise then that 55% of Americans say they're behind on saving for retirement, and the real number is likely much higher than that. These days, planning for retirement isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity, guys. Retirement's become too complex to just pick a day and stop showing up to work. And it's more than complex. Retirement is also expensive. You have to factor in living expenses like taxes, healthcare costs, and other spending. There are many ways to pay for retirement, but which ways are the best ways? How much do you need to save, and how should you invest? Many pre-retirees don't know the answer to these questions. As a result, there are several common mistakes that they tend to make. Each mistake on its own can severely affect your retirement lifestyle. Making several can mean total derailment. The good news is that these days creating a strong retirement plan is easier than ever. And the benefits are more powerful than ever. A proper plan will help you know how much money you'll need to meet your expenses and reach your goals. It'll help you know where that money can and should come from. Having a plan can show you how much income you need, how much you should save, and what expenses might need to be cut. It'll help you to choose the right investments to provide the income you need at a suitable personalized level of risk. It'll help you potentially minimize taxes for both yourself and your heirs. And lastly, it'll help you to know exactly what to do and when to do it, so you can spend your time enjoying retirement instead of worrying about it. Having a financial plan not only provides peace of mind, it answers questions. Most of all, it's the instruction manual to assemble a secure retirement. Planning ahead, knowing exactly what steps to take and when to take them is the ultimate tool to success, and we want to help you get there. Mistake number 1, failing to maximize Social Security benefits. You may have heard that Social Security is broken or that it won't be around by the time you retire. But the truth is that Social Security is nothing less than a guaranteed stream of income, something no retiree should ever neglect. Even better, there are ways to maximize your Social Security benefits. In other words, you may have the ability to increase your post-retirement income. Unfortunately, many retirees do exactly the opposite. Instead, they often rush to collect benefits. There could be major advantages to waiting instead of collecting as soon as possible. They don't claim spousal or survivor benefits. And they don't consider the tax implications of collecting Social Security. Fortunately, there are many, many ways to pretend to maximize your Social Security benefits. Far too many, in fact, for me to cover here, especially because each of you will potentially have a different method. What is best for one will not be best for another. So there can't be just blanket advice. For your maximization method, though, my team is happy to review your whole situation and design a plan for you. But just to give you an idea, here are two of the most basic and powerful ways to increase your benefits. Uh, the first is to delay collecting Social Security in the first place. And as I mentioned, too many people rush to collect their Social Security benefits as soon as they retire. This is sometimes a mistake, especially if you retire early. Technically, you can begin receiving benefits as early as 62, but if you do so, your benefits will be reduced significantly. For example, if you were born between 1943 and 1954, your payouts would be reduced by 25%. And the reduction isn't just temporary, it's permanent. Waiting until your full retirement age is probably a better option. It means you won't face any reduction. What is your full retirement age, you ask? It's the age in which a person may first become entitled to receive full or unreduced retirement benefits. You can see your full retirement age on the chart here. Now, for myself, I was born after 1960, so my full retirement age is 67. They gradually phased in the delay from 65 to 67. The latest you can begin collecting benefits is 70. And there's good reason to hold off until then if you can afford it. Benefit payments go up 8% every year you wait after you reach your full retirement age up to age 70. In other words, the longer you can keep your hand out of the cookie jar, the more sweets you'll eventually receive. So for me, my full retirement is at 67. I would gain 8% for the 3 years if I waited until I was 70. Another way to potentially maximize your Social Security is to claim a spousal benefit. Married individuals can claim Social Security based on either their personal earnings record, in other words, your own work history record, and you can see that on ssa.gov, or on their spouse's earning record. If a married individual chooses the latter, they would receive up to 50% of their spouse's benefit. Why would you choose to claim Social Security based on 50% of your spouse's earnings record rather than your own? It's simple, because you can claim whichever number is higher. Be aware, however, that you cannot claim a spousal benefit until your spouse has filed their own claim first. So your spouse has to be receiving benefits from Social Security, and then you can claim your spousal benefit. Remember, Social Security should and will play a large part in your retirement plan. Failing to give your Social Security benefits the attention they deserve is basically just a way of denying yourself money for retirement. If you'd like to learn more about ways to potentially maximize your benefits, that's something else my team and I can help you with when you schedule your free consultation with us. Mistake number 2, mismanaging tax deferred assets. Misusing your tax deferred assets. Tax deferred investments are investments that allow your money to accumulate tax free until you decide to withdraw it, usually after retirement. Withdrawals are then taxed as ordinary income. These types of investments, think your traditional IRAs or your traditional 401k or annuities, are a great way to save for retirement, but too many people fall prey to the temptation to plunder them long before they retire. It's a common mistake, but one that can have major implications on your retirement savings. First, setting aside money, letting it grow and deferring taxes can potentially give you more retirement income after you stop working. This is especially true when you consider that many retirees will enter into a lower tax bracket than the one they're in prior to retirement. That means you may be able to have more money for retirement while simultaneously paying less in taxes than you would have to if you spent the money immediately after receiving. That's a good thing. Taking withdrawals too early, however, robs your retirement of those extra savings. It can also lead to various penalties. For example, if you make withdrawals from an IRA prior to 59 and a half, your withdrawals would be subject to a 10% penalty from the IRS in addition to being regular taxed. There are some exemptions. For example, you can withdraw money to pay for certain medical expenses, cover certain disaster related expenses, or buy a first home. Even in these exceptions, your withdrawal is taxable. It's just not subject to the 10% penalty. But most of the time, raiding your retirement cookie jar just isn't a wise decision. The point of all this isn't to recommend you start contributing to tax deferred investments today. There's a lot more to that advice than we can discuss when we sit down together. The point is that if you do currently have tax deferred investments, resist the urge to tap into them until you're at or very close to retirement. Give your money a chance to grow until you really need it. Inflation is a word we all heard a lot about lately, isn't it? It seems like we didn't hear anything about it for a long time, and now it's all we talk about. But it's especially important for retirees to know. To put it simply, inflation is the rate at which prices for goods and services go up while the value of currency goes down. So your dollar is becoming worth less, yet everything costs more. For example, let's say the inflation rate is at 4%. At such a rate, a candy bar that costs $1 today will cost $1.04 a year from now. And that doesn't sound like a big deal. It's really nothing. But unfortunately, retirement costs a lot more than even the most expensive of candy bars, and it lasts a lot longer too. As a result, the impact of inflation can hit harder. Here's another way to look at it. So if you retire at 65 and inflation remains at 4%, the value of your dollar will decrease by more than half in 20 years. Living until you are age 85 has become commonplace nowadays, so this concept isn't just academic. Here's one final way to look at the impact of inflation. Let's imagine you retire at 65 with $100,000 in annual retirement income. If inflation were to remain at 4%, then the value of your 100,000 would shrink to less than 50,000 in 20 years. Can you imagine that? In essence, that means you'll be living on half of your expected income by the age of 85. When you think about all the costs that come with retirement, living expenses, medical expenses, spending on leisure, then the thought of living on half your income should be sobering indeed. Many retirees make the mistake of forgetting to calculate for inflation when they plan for retirement, but it's something you have to consider. It's why sticking all your money into a savings account or under the mattress just isn't enough. It's why proper investing is so crucial. It's the best way for your money to grow in a way that outpaces inflation. The point of all this isn't to scare you away from using a bank savings account or CD. The point is that inflation should take its place at the top of your list of things to prepare for. If you plan ahead, there are ways to protect yourself from a drop in purchasing power or inflation. By truly diversifying your portfolio, even as you enter and live in retirement, you can choose investments that act as hedges against inflation, which can make all the difference. When it comes to planning for retirement, few people think about the importance of liquidity. What is liquidity? The definition of liquidity is the ability to convert an asset to cash quickly. For retirees, you can think of liquidity like this: the ability to do what you want or get what you need whenever you want or need it, because you can always pay for it. Financial independence. Technically speaking, cash is the most liquid asset there is because it can be used immediately and under almost any circumstances. Other assets have varying degrees of liquidity. Stocks are relatively liquid since they can usually be sold easily. More tangible objects like a car or even a prized baseball card are far less liquid because it might take longer to find an interested buyer. Items like these might also be harder to sell for their full value. Real estate is one of the least liquid assets of all. Ever tried selling a property before? Sometimes the market cycle allows for a quick sale at a great price. Other times it can take months or years to get the price you're looking for. So why is liquidity so important when it comes to retirement? Think of it like this. The basic steps of retirement planning involve the following. First, take stock of your resources. Where will your income come from after retirement? And how much will it be? Then calculate your expected expenses. If the total of your expected expenses is greater than your expected income, then the solution is simple. Try to secure more income. One of the best ways to do that is through investments. But here's where some people make a mistake. In the effort to get more income, it can be easy to lock your money. For example, say you purchase a long-term certificate of deposit or an annuity. These could potentially provide you with the income you need. However, the payments you receive would be based on a predetermined schedule. If you wanted access to your money before the schedule allowed, or in excess of what the schedule allows, you'd face a very stiff penalty. Because converting these assets to cash can be difficult and costly, they lack liquidity. Why does this matter? The main reason is because of the unexpected expenses you will inevitably face after retirement. What if your house is damaged by a storm and needs repairs? What if your car gets stolen? What if you have sudden medical expenses to pay? All those things require cash. You can't rely on things like Social Security alone because that will have already been earmarked for your expected expenses. Unexpected expenses are why liquidity is so important. No one can plan for every occurrence. We have to expect the unexpected. It's why you should always keep a first aid kit in your car and a flashlight in your home. And it's why you should always factor in the importance of liquidity when preparing for retirement, even if you have to sacrifice a little bit of income to do it. I love this last one. This last mistake, I enjoy it the most. I enjoy helping people avoid it the most. Retirement is about finally having the opportunity to focus on living. It's no longer about getting ahead in life, but about experiencing life itself. For that reason, retirement should be fun. It should be enlightening. It should be rejuvenating. Above all, retirement should be whatever it is you want it to be. However, there are many people who never take the time to dream. They never create their bucket list, never ponder their deepest, sweetest desires. It's quite possible to spend too much time worrying about how to retire and not enough on why you're retiring or what you want to do in retirement. People who make this mistake run the risk of experiencing the worst scenario of all, boredom. Boredom, that's the worst. When it comes to retirement, here's the first thing we at Hans Financial always tell our clients. If you can dream it, we can help you achieve it. So right now, I want everyone to close their eyes for a moment and dream about retirement. Assume for the moment that you'll have both the money and the time. What do you envision yourself doing? Just think about that for 10 seconds. It's easy for me to do. Okay, now I want you to open your eyes and take a look at the screen. These are just some of the dreams that my team and I have helped our clients achieve by ensuring they were able to retire when they wanted with enough money to do what they wanted. What do you think when you see them? Do any of them sound appealing to you? Maybe it's time to restore that old sports car, learn how to cook Italian food in Italy, use the money from your kid's 529 that wasn't spent. Write a novel. The point of showing you is that planning for retirement is about more than taxes and investments. It's about envisioning the life you always wanted to live. The point of a retirement plan is to make your vision a reality. So just to kind of recap, these are the 5 retirement mistakes that we covered. Each one of them need to be considered. I just want to thank you for joining the webinar and participating and listening to this. And I hope I get a chance to meet you. And if you want to schedule some time and have us talk about your personal situation, there's no cost for an initial consultation. You can use this phone number right here to text us. Somebody on my team, Rebecca or Joyce, will get back to you right away to schedule some time. This is our website, of course. And we would love to meet and help you make a difference, help make a difference in your retirement plan.